I knew that if we won for Let It Go, that he was gonna get an EGOT. So the girls and I made a pasta glue necklace that had EGOT, and I slipped it to the PR people. I knew that if I had presented the pasta necklace to him in the speech, it would have really embarrassed him because he really doesn't like to talk about his honors at all.
I don't like attention. I do this job despite the attention. The necklace fell apart, but I've got pictures of it. I remember the T fell off and it just said ego for a while, and then I had to throw it out.
I'm Kristen Anderson-Lopez.
And I'm Bobby Lopez.
And this is our process for composing animated musicals. I think it actually starts with talking about why are you working on the movie? What do you have to say? What do these characters have to say? And that's where everything begins, and it really is about talking story and character with Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck and amazing animators at Walt Disney Animation.
In the first movie, we were collaborating with the team on the story, and we found a spot that we called Elsa's Badass Song, which evolved into Let It Go as we wrote the song. It was about Elsa going from someone who was keeping secrets inside, and then in this one moment she transforms and allows her power to come out and becomes the Elsa we know and love. In this film, we already kind of knew Elsa.
We knew that Elsa had already been accepted by her community, but there was still the burning question which drove actually creating Frozen 2, which is, why does she have these powers and what purpose do those powers have to play? We'll talk a little about our process as it relates to Into the Unknown, just breaking that down. We knew that there were questions that she still had. We need to embody that restless feeling we all have when we know maybe I'm not exactly where I need to be, that we would embody that with this voice that is actually the dies irae, which is used by composers of operas and musicals for centuries. And it's actually a mythical call, usually to danger of some kind. Bobby had this vamp that he was working on that had this drive that was like da 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 da.
That became the chorus. Kristen said, it's 3 a.m. She has to wake up in the middle of the night. It has to feel more mysterious, more 3 a.m. And I said, okay, well, what if we put it up an octave? And what if we make it minor? And what if we add a sixth to it? And
he started playing like this, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and I was like, I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble. Like, it felt like a voice you would talk to at 3 a.m. And then the chorus itself actually tells the story of the whole movie if you look at it from a musicology point of view. So you have Into the Unknown, that's an octave, safe, we know octaves. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Then Into the Unknown, that's actually
one higher, it's a ninth.
Stepping a toe outside of what you know, but coming right back. And then Into the Unknown is like, whoa, you just flew the coop. You just went
11th.
Way to an enchanted forest somewhere. It's an 11th.
Which is an interval they strongly urge you not to write.
That kind of mirrors the story of Elsa hearing the voice but staying safe, stepping a toe out, and then finding herself in this enchanted forest of transformations.
And that then the song could become a duet between Elsa and this voice. That's first she's resisting it, and then she gives in. It's leading her away from everything she knows, everything she loves, her home and comfort and her queendom, to brave this journey that's very challenging and very dangerous into the unknown to find where it is that she's meant to be.
Again, we just try and tell the story, and we try and tell a story that really resonates for us. And in the case of the Olaf song, we were feeling very stuck in an enchanted forest we couldn't get out of, that we couldn't make sense of, because these stories are hard. Certain story points will get locked. while others are very, very in flux and vague. And you know that there's this deadline coming, and you keep telling yourself, okay, trust the process, trust your collaborators. In 6 months, this will all be over and it'll all be solved. Even though you don't know how to solve it then. I was skating to try and self-soothe. I was ice skating around, and I thought, this will all make sense when I'm older. That's what Olaf can sing. And I ran to the ice skating rental guy, and I said, do you have a pen and paper? And I would like do a lap and then write a line, and then do a lap and write a line. And I brought it back to Bobby, who then discovered this like amazing, spooky Halloween meets Sondheim kind of music to put it to.
He's got so much anxiety because he cannot process the craziness that's going on around him in the forest, that the song itself is almost like a calm blue ocean kind of mantra that he's self-soothing with. 'Cause when you're older, absolutely everything makes sense. This is fine. The first big song we wrote for the movie was The Next Right Thing, a song that Anna sings towards the end. And it was a very daring thing that we all agreed we would try, because it's a song about grief. It's a song about what do you do when your whole world has collapsed and you don't know what to do next. You can't imagine a future. And Anna shows this quality in the song of realizing, like, you can't think about the future. You just have to think about the narrow, very next right thing, take a step, and then make another choice, because the grief comes in waves, and that's what we wanted to write about there.
Right. Anna is such an optimist, and she's usually so all over the place, not unlike myself. Kristen also had done this beautiful monologue about how being an optimist is not a thing that you're given, it's a choice you make every day.
Right, it's not that she magically feels happy all the time, it's that she feels all the feelings, she deals with all the darkness, and it's a choice to still keep going, even when things look like you can't.
There are those moments when the world gives you something that seems impossible to recover from. I did ask Chris Buck if I could share this story. During the press junket for Frozen 1, Chris and his wife lost their son. Then I watched as he had to show up for work and show up 3 weeks later for the Golden Globes, and then the Oscars, and how he just had to keep putting one foot in front of the next, and the courage that he showed in dealing with the unimaginable. And I think I wrote this lyric like in one sitting. I was just thinking about what he must have felt like in that moment, and I brought it to Bobby, and he put this beautiful music to it, and we said, can we put this in a Disney movie? And it was Chris and Jen who were like, yes, not only can we, but we must. And so we're really grateful to them for that.
How to rise from the floor when it's not you I'm rising for.
You know, all of that was in a soup for this moment that we wanted to give Anna, because Anna is this human heart who shows us how to be human, and Elsa is this mythical heroine who really shows us how to be even better than we can possibly
How to find our power.
Yeah.
Part of being a boy is repressing a certain range of emotions and vulnerability. We wanted to show the world that it's okay for boys to feel their feelings. We think that it's healthy. My journey as a person and getting out of my own comfort zone has been to express my feelings and to learn to be more romantic to this woman who deserves it.
Aww. If Kristoff allows other boys to feel what they feel and their feelings are real, that's something that Kristoff brings to the world.
I'm the one who sees you home, but now I'm lost in the woods, and I don't know what path you are on.
We had already written the bulk of the Kristoff song, and I believe went back and tagged on the Reindeers Are Better Than People reprise to set it up. You need to think of it like an airplane ramp. Every song needs a really clear pathway to take off into singing. And that is a really hard thing to get, especially with this song, which was going to go so stylized into the 80s, both visually and sonically. And so the best way in was through Sven allowing us to go to a really stylized place, and that's what we did.
We had a blast writing it once we and the team discovered this moment. And I think we knew that it had this 80s flair. We had no inkling what Jen and Chris were going to do with the visuals of it, because it just brought it home. It was so over the top. And
a storyboard artist named Dan Abraham, who is known for being really great with humor. I think somewhere, like we had said, a note like, this could be shot like an 80s karaoke video. He took that note and boy did he run with it. And I think it was actually their idea to put the reindeer chorus in, which allowed us to go. And this is the kind of chicken and egging that happens with the amazing animators. Allowed us to take it into these harmonies that were like boy band kind of harmonies. So it's so fun when you're not just writing in a vacuum, but you have all these amazing artists inspiring you to zig and zag. What very few people know is that it's never that we are handed a full script with like, and song goes here. That never happens. Nor do we ever hand them a whole score and say like, work a story around these songs. Right. That's just not how it happens. It happens with talking almost every single day, usually for 2 hours. Sometimes while Jen is driving in, we're calling at 11 a.m. in New York. We have an idea, so we catch her in her car. Sometimes she calls us at 9 p.m. after we've put our kids to sleep to say, I have an idea. And then we have to very quietly play on our piano. And it's like a weird, high-pressure 5-year play date. The first time around, we were kind of like, This time around, we've gotten to realize how amazing the animators are. They take these songs and the way they breathe life into them, like for instance, during Something's Never Changed, Anna's holding onto her shoes. That was an animator choice to say, you know, it's the end of the night. She's been wearing heels. Let's give her those heels and have her take them off. When I saw it, I got chills because it was exactly right. And it was never something I put in the stage directions. It was all them, and it's such a dance. So the first thing I just want to say is I'm so grateful for what the animators bring to these songs.
Yeah, the second time around, you're able to focus and appreciate your collaborators' work more, because we never really interact with half of the people that work on this movie, more than half. And that's all thanks to the director, who does work with us and with every single department, coordinating them all to tell one story. And to me, I appreciate not only the different departments, but also the work of Jen and Chris, who somehow told a coherent story out of all these disparate people that never get to work together or meet. Christoph Beck is the film's composer for Frozen 1 and Frozen 2, and we're so lucky to get to work with him, because he doesn't have to do this, but he does take our themes from the songs and interweave them sometimes into his cues. He does it so subtly and develops them in such a way that's perfect for the drama of the scene. And sometimes it's very stirring. It's like,
right.
We didn't know that the melodies could work that way.
Do You Want to Build a Snowman was really a partnership with him, because we had written the 3 panels of like, do you want to build a snowman? But he's the one who took the themes and went like, do do da 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 da. And then could come back to our, do you want to build a snowman?
Yeah, I want to be him when I grow up. He's so good. And
Me
he was
too.
the one, he created the theme for the people in the forest, the mist. Well, I don't even know what the instruments are called because I wasn't there, but there's one instrument that just is so haunting that you hear when they get to the forest. We did some songs that were music first and some songs that were lyrics first, but she was writing so confidently that when it was lyrics first, I would often just get the song and all we'd have to do was really set it. It was great to watch her grow. Maybe that part of that was me just fighting back a little less and realizing that the stuff she was handing me was great.
But often the stuff I was handing him was inspired by things that he would be playing in the mornings. Like, we have a piano in our living room, and so while I'm getting ready, and I take much longer than he does, he goes and he noodles down on the piano.
Got a lot of time to play. Yeah.
But I'm inspired by that. My brain starts going with, ooh, that could be the lullaby.
Oh, so wait, you're taking longer because I'm playing? I could stop.
When we finish a song, we are so excited sometimes that we come home and our kids have to sit through them. They love being our test audience and they really give us great feedback. But sometimes we're like, we finished a song today, do you want to hear it? And they're like, maybe after dinner. The good news was with Frozen 2, we had some of the same responses we had to some of the Frozen 1 songs where Annie was like, let's listen to it again. And Katie's now 14, so she can now even say like, I really like that you went into minor there. Did I hear a sixth?
They've gotten so sophisticated as they have grown. They're both teenagers, I guess a teen and a tween. And now they're able to give very specific feedback in a helpful way, which is nice. But what we're really kind of looking for is, did you like it or not? Like, sort of, how did you enjoy it?
We write two specific voices sometimes, and we have been given this great gift of working with Idina Menzel. When I hit my 20s, she was starring in Rent, and I actually went in for that part a couple of times. I was definitely trying to channel Idina when I was a 24-year-old actress. So when we were given this opportunity to write these songs for her, I could hear her in my head. And I knew that down low, she has this incredible warmth and vulnerability, but that the higher you take her, the more epic and powerful she gets. So you may notice that we use that to our advantage when we write for Elsa. Everything needs to have soul, and you can write something with like a tinge of touching psychology, and she always finds that psychology and then brings it out with her voice. I think that's why she's Idina. Kristen Bell has this beautiful pingy sound, and one of our first dates was actually watching her in Reefer Madness, the musical, when she was still in college. She sang this little weird song about like, in my lonely pew. It was so cute, and I was like, how can I work with her? How can I get her to sing one of my songs?
She's so funny. Her song, I think, she came in so many times to do it this way and do it that way. She never got tired of trying to give us something that we wanted. We kept going between sort of more straightforwardly singing it and sobbing and breaking down. The filmmakers carved out a little more time and stopped some of the rhythm of the beginning so she could have a breakdown. It was just inspiring to watch her come in with a baseball cap on and then all of a sudden be singing and crying in this beautiful, perfect way that just breaks my heart now every time I see it.
Yeah. And then Jonathan Groff, talk about a heart. Like, he is just the kindest, sweetest guy, and yet he's got this like cool guy voice. And so it's just such a fuzzy, wonderful example for men everywhere. I love him. You have a long and storied history with Josh.
I'm very lucky to have worked with Josh. I'm one of his discoverers, actually. I cast him in Book of Mormon. He's always been funny. He never stops being funny. I stopped a long time ago, and I'm glad.
You're always funny.
I'm really glad not to have to do that anymore. But Josh just goes around bringing joy wherever he goes, and every time we get to work with him is so much fun.
Such a joy.
Did you know gorillas burp when they're happy? Go to a zoo. Test it out.
Josh was on this film before any of us, I think. Yeah.
We came in at the same time as Kristen and Idina, but they came in and they sang "Wind Beneath My Wings" in a duet, and that is what greenlit the original Frozen. If you had asked us at this time in 2013, what is the song of the film, we wouldn't have had an answer for you. It's really the audience tells us what the song of the film is. You know, the first song, the lullaby, is basically the roadmap for the entire musical. You'll realize the mom is telling them where to go and what to do to find their way forward, because the mom knows so much more than anybody else in that room.
Where the north wind meets the sea, there's a river full of memories.
Some Things Never Change is this way to start a musical sequel that really gets a whole bunch of exposition out and tells us the journey each one of these characters will be going on.
The leaves are already falling. Sven, it feels like the future is calling. Are you telling me tonight you're gonna get down on one knee?
Every single song does huge amount of story heavy lifting because there's really no difference between dialogue, action, and song because we all work so closely together, and I don't even know who thinks of what. We don't know, like if it was Jen and
blends
Chris,
together.
it all blends together because we're all playing in this sandbox together. All of our songs, at least at this moment, all of our songs are the song of the film because they all do major storytelling, heavy lifting.
And now that we're about to release them all, it's almost like I love you all.
Yes, it does feel like dropping 7 of our children at college and saying like, make good choices. I hope everybody likes you. All of the songs that you've brought up in this interview all come from a really personal place. We can't write a song unless it's something that we say, that speaks to my gut, and I know what that feels like. You know, with Remember Me from Coco, we were songwriters having to leave our children across the country. So what I used to do is leave these lullabies behind for them that the babysitters could sing.
I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart.
That's what those lullabies were that we were leaving for our own kid. All of the songs that we've written for Frozen 2, especially Do the Next Right Thing, especially Show Yourself, especially Lost in the Woods, and This Will All Make Sense When I'm Older, and Into the Unknown, these are all moments that I can point to something in my life that I know how to talk about this. I know what it feels like to feel a calling that I'm not doing the right thing. The great privilege and the responsibility as storytellers is to teach empathy, to help everybody see through the eyes of your character. You know, the small amount that we did for Coco at a time when people were trying to say, build a wall, instead to build a bridge to this little boy named Miguel and his experience, we felt responsibility to do our job right so that every single human being could feel through Miguel's eyes. And that's also what we feel with this idea of Anna and Elsa searching for truth in a world where truth is uncertain. The world has changed. You can't keep it from changing, and truth is getting lost. How do we find truth? And how do we find it through these 2 strong women? Thank you so much for listening, Vanity Fair.
I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us talk about our process.
And we really hope you like Frozen 2.
Thanks.
Thanks.